To another of our headline stories now. Fears are mounting that South Sudan, the world's youngest nation, could slip back into civil war after almost 300 people were killed in fighting over the past week. Some of the most recent outbreaks of violence saw UN facilities attacked and a Chinese peacekeeper killed. The renewed fighting has been condemned by the UN, saying it's shocked their facilities came under fire as troops loyal to the country's president clashed with opposition forces. Meanwhile, the US has pulled out its non-essential embassy staff, and Japan too has taken steps to remove aid workers. Most of South Sudan's brief existence has been marred by violence and internal conflict. When splitting from Sudan, South Sudan inherited 75% of the local oil reserves, the third largest in sub-Saharan Africa. And the young state is heavily reliant on its oil revenue, with the vast reserves attracting the attention of some of the world's most prominent investors.
South Sudan is the world's newest country, born only in 2011, and already buddies with two of the most powerful countries on the planet. One is the US, dubbed the midwife of South Sudan's independence, throwing political and diplomatic weight into its young friend. The other is China, the economic engine and main investor for the state. When it comes to America, South Sudan has always been a top priority for the US. President George W. Bush has a good personal bond with President Salva Kiir. You see this hat? Reportedly a gift from his American friend. And it was a relationship President Obama continued to nurture, pouring aid into the young country.
It's my pleasure to welcome President Kiir of South Sudan. The President and I have visited many times, there and here, and I've had the privilege of being with him at the moment that the referendum took place that gave birth to the nation of South Sudan.
So things look pretty rosy between the US and South Sudan, except that America's old rival, China, is stepping on its toes. Having invested billions in South Sudan's oil production, China has even sent in a brigade of peacekeepers, though some suspect their real purpose is to protect the oil fields. But there's something standing in the way of China's efforts to develop the rest of South Sudan's oil reserves, and that's the constant chaos across the country.
China and the West, especially that of the US, in terms of Africa, is a bitter rivalry that cuts across all sectors of Africa right now. Across a multitude of investment opportunities, the Chinese have taken full control. Now the US clearly not happy about that, and I can understand, wanting to dislodge the Chinese at every opportunity.
The United States view that this intrusion of China into the black continent, Africa, it is as strategically dangerous, and probably they might try to disturb the Chinese by using this conflict in southern Sudan.
So while South Sudan may have become an economic and geopolitical playground for the likes of major players America and China, the bloodshed and humanitarian disaster continues.
Former British Prime Minister Tony Blair wanted $35 million from the United Arab Emirates to build the country's brand and spread its influence. That story coming up after this short break.